Welcome to 5 Minutes of Momentum. These episodes are a short 5-minute burst of inspiration, motivation, and massive action. If you need that little kick up the butt to get things moving and to inspire you to take massive action, then every single Thursday I'll be sending you through a 5-minute episode to download, digest, and implement to finish your week off strong. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Today I want to talk to you about the fear that every event host has, no matter what, whether you are running a workshop, a retreat, a conference, an event, like every single event host has these fears. And I want to talk to you about shifting them and moving through them because they never go away. It's not like any time, like there are more events that you run that you don't have this fear. The thought still pops up because it's part of the process. And so I want to talk to you about how I handle it and how I move through it. Because if you have ever thought about running an event, whether it be a retreat, a conference, a workshop, a networking event, whatever it might be, whether it's a coffee catch-up, like it can be any type of event. Events are one of those things that require people to show up. And that's normally where all the fears come to the surface. One of the biggest fears, and you know it, I'm sure that you've had it, is anyone going to actually show up? What if it doesn't work out? What if it fails? What if it flops? What if I have to cancel it? What is that going to look like? And so ideally what we want to do here is start to understand the underlying fear that is causing us to have these thoughts. Because the fear isn't necessarily will people show up or not, like that's how it shows up in our thoughts. The fear is either going to be what are people going to think and how am I going to handle it? And really the thing is the emotion. You're most worried about the emotion, about how am I going to handle that feeling? So if we bring it down to the most basic level, is literally like identifying what is the emotion I'm so afraid of feeling. Depending on how long you've been in business, I guarantee you have had a fear of failing. You've had a fear of it not working out. And I have had so many failures along the way. And I think that the way that you handle them or the way that you perceive failure makes the difference between whether you're going to continue to show up and try it again and put those risks on the page, or whether you are going to hold yourself back again and again and again. If you're worried about what people are going to think, you're fearful of judgment. If you're worried about people not seeing the value in what it is that you're putting out there, you're worried about the fear of it failing. You're worried about the fear of rejection and what people are going to think about that. And at the end of the day, I honestly believe that your opinion should matter more than what their opinion is. So your opinion about yourself should matter more compared to what other people are going to think. And a lot of the time we fear specific people's opinions. So who is it that you're most worried about disappointing? Who is it that you're most worried about being seen as a failure in their eyes? Because I guarantee you, they're the ones that you need to consider first. And so starting to explore those thoughts, those fears, I know can feel a little bit confronting. And the way that I work through this is I play it out like a movie. So let's say that it didn't go to plan. Let's say that you did have a failure. Let's say that no one showed up. How would you handle it? A lot of the time we don't think that far because we're actually wanting to avoid the feeling. We're avoiding that feeling that we're putting off into the future of like, if that actually happens, I'm so worried about that happening. And I'm worried about that feeling of whether I'm going to be able to handle it. A lot of the time, people don't think they're going to be able to handle the failures, right? Until it happens. And then you're like, fuck, this is horrible. And you cry, you have a doona day, you drink all the wine, like you do all the things until you then have to process it, until you have to accept it to be able to move beyond it. So we actually want to take ourselves through that process in order to be able to handle the fear and support ourselves to move beyond it. So I asked myself, okay, if it did happen, how would I handle it? And the majority of the time is if I'm able to handle it myself, then I know that I'll be able to handle the narrative and I know I'll be able to handle the next thing. So whatever happens, if you have your own back, that's all that matters. If you take care of yourself and you nurture yourself, you comfort yourself through the process of it, you are more likely to be able to handle any type of stress, any type of emotion, any type of experience. Because at the end of the day, it's just an emotion. It's just an emotion. If you know how to handle emotions, you'll be able to handle anything. And sometimes you don't know what that emotion is going to be until it happens, which is fine. You handle it at the time. But ahead of the time, okay, if I'm sitting in this place of fear of like, what if no one shows up? And I use that to hold myself back, then where am I going to be in 6 months' time? I'm going to be in the exact same place. So what's more uncomfortable? Feeling the feeling of it now and moving through it and taking the action anyway and seeing what could be possible, seeing if I'm capable of actually creating a great outcome or a great result, or is it actually experiencing the negative? Because I know that no matter what happens, I'll have my back. I know that no matter what, I'll be able to process the emotion and move through it. It may be uncomfortable, it may be horrible, like I get it, but I guarantee you there have been hard things that you've been able to process in the past.
And the last piece is shifting your perspective about what you believe failure means. Failure honestly feels like an ending of such. But really in business, there's no ending. There's new decisions. It's just new decisions, new situations. You make a decision, you move on. You move to the next thing, move to the next thing, move to the next thing. There's no such thing as failure unless you give up. And I'm honestly the big believer of that. And then even then, it's still not an ending, because if you give up, you then move on to the next thing. So you might then close your business down. You might then close that offering, like whatever it might be. It's just a new decision. And there's no such thing as failure. And if you're worried about what other people think about you, if you were to fail, I want you to know that most people aren't thinking about you. A majority of the time, they're not thinking about you, and they may see if it's a public failure. Yeah, it might suck. They might be talking about it for a week or two, but before you know it, they've moved on to the next thing. So if you can get through that couple of weeks, because really, like, you're not Elon Musk. It's not like it's going to last forever that they end up talking about this failure as such. People move on so fast. Like, it's so crazy about how quickly we move on. And so worrying about what other people are going to think or what other people are going to say is honestly what's keeping you from creating something really incredible. So we've got to refocus our attention back to what could be possible if it goes well. And we want to hold that energy and stay focused in that area. And that will more likely help support you in taking the action and move through the fear. So we address the fear. We come to the place of acceptance that if it was to happen, how would I handle it? Map out your action steps and then go, okay, how do I prevent this from happening? Because it's in the prevention that you'll more likely create the outcome that you're really looking for.